Landcat is going to be annoying today. So everybody say hello to Landcat. All right, Land. Okay. So, going to talk about two albums, a little bit together, a little bit apart. Well, a lot apart. And the reason I'm going to talk about them together is they both kind of directly influence each other. All right. So what we have is today we're focusing on Coverdale and Page, the one and only album they released together, which is directly related to Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, No Quarter, the Unleaded album. Okay, so they were trying to get a Led Zeppelin reunion going. Things weren't working out right. Because of that, someone had suggested Page get together with Coverdale, work on an album. It would sound really great. And I agree. It was a smart idea. Wow, you were really being obnoxious. The problem is I don't think the studio backed the album properly. I think the album should have gotten toured and it didn't. And not only do I think the album should have gotten toured when it didn't, I really think a follow-up album should have been made and it wasn't. The reason why is it was compared way too much to Led Zeppelin, which is why eventually this one ended up happening. Okay, so, and I'm kind of bitter because this happened a year after this, which means if they would have just put more time into this, if the studio, the label, Geffen Records, would have put more time and effort into this, I think it would have blown up and would have been bigger. And I think Coverdale and Page would have been a much larger act and could have kept going, you know, and we wouldn't have had to worry about how bad the 90s would have sucked because they would have helped get us through the tail end of the 90s a lot easier. Now, does this album sound like Zeppelin? Yes, there's definitely Zeppelin elements in this album. Why? Because Jimmy Page is playing guitar on here. But you know what other elements are in here? Whitesnake. The lyrics have a Whitesnake sensibility and the way the vocals are done, stuff like that. This made for a really, really good, solid, from beginning to end, hard rock album. And this is an album in the sense of a true album. Like there's no bad songs on this album. There's a couple songs that might be a little but there's no bad songs on this album. It's quality beginning to end. The problem with this album is technically there's really no proper singles on here. There is one song that hits single length at 3 minutes and 32 seconds. Outside of that, the next song is at 4:10, and every other song after that's over 5 minutes. Most of them in the 6 minute or more range. One other song just under 5 minutes, which is the lead off track on this album, Shake My Tree, which did get some radio play. I know in Detroit it definitely got radio play. The lead song on the album makes sense, and it's honestly better than two of the singles they chose. They picked 3 singles. One was strictly an Australian release. And the 2 singles were quite lengthy. And only one of them I think should have been a single. Shake My Tree was really smart to put at the front of the album because it could still get used as a single that way. And this is back before everything was pre-programmed and BS, so DJs actually could pick to put it on. And it starts off the album great. Then you're on to Waiting on You, which is a really good tune. Usually I find second song on albums tend to be a little bit fillerish. One of those, you know, or it's an immediate direction change from the first song on the album. That doesn't happen with Waiting on You. Going from Shake My Tree to Waiting on You just has a real natural flow and progression. And then that leads to Take Me for a Little While, which was one of the singles on the album, and the only single I actually agree with on the album. This is a really good song. This would definitely be the one that would help get the ladies in. Really great. I don't want to call it a power ballad because it's really not. I don't want to call it an arena ballad because it's really not, but it's got that great arena ballad kind of vibe and flavor to it a little bit. Except for, unlike an arena arena ballad or arena power ballad or whatever. It doesn't have that build up where, you know, gets to this huge blowout part and then kind of stays in a blowout section. It builds up, goes into a blowout, and then it comes back down again, does its thing, and then goes back into another blowout again, which to me is fantastic and I think really worthwhile. That's followed up by Pride and Joy. This is one of the most Zeppelin-y sounding songs to me on this album, but it's good Zeppelin sounding. It's that Jimmy Page, twangy, real bluesy inspired kind of sound. Really enjoy it. This is the one that was released as a single purely because it was 3 minutes and 32 seconds. Do I think it should have been a single? No, there is another song on here that is a shorter song that should have been about a single instead. That would be 2 songs from now, but we'll get there. So Pride and Joy, though, still a really good tune. To me, it's just a really good album cut. Over Now, really good tune. Kind of feels right in the middle in that album, just kind of sitting there nicely. Then you got Feeling Hot. Feeling Hot should have been the single instead of Pride and Joy. Feeling Hot, if Feeling Hot had been the single, I really think that it would still be getting played today because it's got that great summertime kind of vibe to it, that summertime single vibe sound going on. And I really do think it would still be getting that notoriety today if it had been the single back then. Then you're into Easy Does It. Easy Does It's not a bad tune. Good album cut. Take a Look at Yourself. Another good album cut. Don't Leave Me This Way was a single, I believe, if I remember correctly. And it's really weird that that one was picked as a single as it clocks in at just under 8 minutes. And I believe the longest song on the album. So that's kind of impressive. Don't Leave Me This Way, really, in certain ways, it kind of has a Zeppelin-esque sort of vibe, but very loosely. Absolution Blues, that one's definitely, we're back into definitely a Zeppelin-esque feel. With Absolution Blues, if I remember correctly, it takes about a minute and change before you really kind of get going in the song and having some fun with it. And then Whisper a Prayer for the Dying finishes off the album. And this is a fantastic song as well. Whisper a Prayer for the Dying, to me, is like closing out an album with No Quarter, Achilles' Last Stand, Stairway to Heaven, Kashmir. Take, you know, the big, giant, epic-y, great, like, whoa kind of songs where, you just, from beginning to end, you are taking on one hell of a journey. And Whisper a Prayer for the Dying, to me, really kind of has that vibe to it. The funny part is, though, as much as I mentioned all those great long Zeppelin songs, the song it reminds me the most of everything else is actually Danzig's When the Dying Calls, or When the Dying Comes. I really just absolutely dig on the song, man. I think it closes out the album beautifully. The whole way around, I would highly recommend this album. I bought it used for $4, and I think it's a steal. I really wish I would have bought a copy of this when I was younger. My dad and my stepmom had a copy of it. I didn't give it the time it deserved, but they also picked it up kind of towards the end of their marriage. So I didn't get as much time with it as I could have had, I guess. The whole way around, great album, really enjoyable. And if they do a remaster of it or something like that, and, it's got enough bonus material and stuff, I would pick up a remaster of it. But $4, wow, what a great deal. Those are my thoughts, my views, my opinions. Let me know what you think down below. Am I being too generous with this album? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Hard to say. That's what the comments are for, so you can tell me. Anyways, on your way down there, you'll see a couple links as well. Feel free to check those out, please and thank you. There's the like button, subscribe button, bell for notifications. Those help out me, help out you. Otherwise, folks, peace, love, take care.